But this court has frozen
Yeah.
that implementation, so I would say that that's a legal question that would have to be addressed at a higher level than me.
So Jim, why did you say no to that? Just because I'm curious on
No,
law.
because if you look in the packet in 2012, we asked the other Grange, when they decided they were gonna be a Grange, for the certificates from both the national and the state, and they had them.
They had both of them.
They had both of them, so that's what we went on. And also in the livestock rule book, and you have a copy of the page I put out, it does say that the fair manager has the final say.
Does this Grange have a certificate from the state?
Which Grange?
Standards.
Spanish. They are, according to the state, they are reorganizing.
Do
And
they have a
that's,
certificate of good standing yet?
nope,
Okay. And they don't have.
not that I'm, because Danielle said that when it got straightened out, they wouldn't give us one. And I've talked to both the national, I haven't talked to both the state.
I don't think our job is to determine
Yeah.
if that Grange is legitimate. I mean, that's.
Well, I agree with that, but I still have
We
to.
can't even do it, not long as the court case. Okay, Aaron is next, and Aaron, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, first off, I mean, I think it's very unfortunate that we have the National Grange fighting against the state Grange. We have the Honey Lake versus the Standish. We have the Fair Board versus the, it's just sad because then you have two young ladies back here getting caught in the middle.
Yeah.
You know, it's, you know, and my support goes to Jim Wolcott wholeheartedly because he is trying to, well, he's not, he's trying to save the kids from future problems. I mean, we can, this discussion here is fine for today, but I guarantee you, 30 days from now, when that fair is going on, the whole political dynamics change dramatically, depending on who wins. I've been involved in 4-H and FFA and in the fair stuff my entire life, and I know how the politics can be. I mean, it's cutthroat, it's brutal. And Jim is doing the right thing by protecting these kids. He is still, they're not being denied from showing their animal. They're not being denied from selling their animal. They're not being denied from putting in their still exhibits. They're not being denied of putting up their fair booths. They're just being asked, and he's making it fair, straight across the board. There's no Granges, it's just gonna be independent. And I think the hats off to Jim for going through this. It was a hard decision for him, I have no doubt. And anyway, the only thing that I would ask Jim of you is if there are some adults that have submitted things under Grange that your staff has overlooked, is it gonna be fair and or optional? I mean, I don't know, I'm just asking this. Being how they were, provided they were entered in a timely manner, could that still be changed instead of the Standish Grange or Honey Lake Grange? Can that be put as an independent?
I don't think that's gonna be a problem, because the only thing is there is a little bit of money involved in it, one of them, but it's only $100, so I wouldn't mind doing that.
And that would be my only thing, just to, because it's important to have the entries in the fair. I mean, but I still want to, I don't want to cause any other problems for you too.
No.
Because
It has to be consistent though.
it does. And so, I mean, I don't know if we need a motion on this today.
I've got one more man, and I got a question for Lisa, and then we're gonna make a decision. Sir?
Yeah, thank you. Since this lawsuit affects all of California, I'd like to know,
What's your name, sir?
my name is Paul. I'd like to know how the rest of the counties in California are handling this situation. They're all in the same boat.
You don't know.
Yeah, I asked that question earlier and didn't get an answer. Yeah, that's
Jim doesn't know.
I mean, basically, if there's a court case now, until that court case is determined, anything that happens this fair could be, wrong.
That's why I try to get a hold of.
I mean,
FAA.
that's my concern. So we don't have to answer your question.
Yeah.
And now for Lisa,
But F&E's telling you that they don't, with
F&E is down to 2 employees, but the rural committee, I've tried to get a hold of them, and she has not responded back to me.
okay, Lisa, you are now currently an FFA and 4-H member?
No, I am currently a 4-H leader. I was FFA and I was 4-H
So you-
member. I am currently a 4-H
So
leader. And
why didn't you choose to enter and show as a 4-H instead of a Grange, when the Grange is so controversial?
I chose to become a leader in 4-H as a dog trainer, as the dog training project, because that's one of my things that I love to do. And I chose to show as a Grange member in the Lassen County 4-H FFA Grange Dog Show. But due to, which was, I think it's either this weekend or next weekend, due to this whole controversial thing going on here, I can't, this decision right here shows whether I can or cannot wear that Grange vest, or whether I have to show independent. Because how else that drags into is the dogs are different than your livestock. The dogs are, whoever is grand champion at that dog show shows small animal round robin at the fair, and that is an entry, correct, Jim? Is that correct? It's that the small animal round robin is an entry?
I couldn't tell.
Oh, okay, I was just, because I did it 2 years before that. So I'm not showing livestock this year. I don't have my cattle ready or anything. But the girl sitting next to me, Ashley, and another girl, too, were showing their beef in 4-H and sheep and Grange, and now they can't show sheep in Grange.
The comment was made, I think it was by Ashley, and even in your letter, that if you show it independent, and then when you go to the auction and sell,
There's a stigma.
There's a stigma.
Well,
Well,
I think it's stretching. I mean, it's been a few years ago. I did show when I was in FFA, and I actually did have a grand champion one year, which is 1966, a couple of years back. Yeah, that's better than the reverse. I don't know if that's exactly true, because I mean, I see at the auction, a lot of people, lesser grade animals selling for more than higher grades because it's the family or friends of that kid wanting to support them, and I don't know if what you're.
Well, I stated that in my little speech to you guys, that if you show independent, you have to have your own network of support. It's your
Yeah.
last name or
Yeah.
your friends or your family's business or whatever. That's up to you, but some newer kids here don't have that network. I don't have that
But
network.
I mean, you see that in FFA and 4-H too. I mean, the kid's got a network of people, whether it be friends or businesses they do business with or whoever, they're there to bid on that kid.
Yeah.
And that's very common, so I'm gonna disagree with you. If you show independent, you're not gonna do it good. I mean, you're gonna get what the kid does, you know, how the kid presents himself and all that. I don't think it matters if you're 4-H, FFA, or independent. And if you go independent, you're gonna be okay no matter how the suit is settled. If you do not go independent and this suit is settled, you know, depending on the outcome of it, you could actually have to give up
Yeah.
something you got at the fair, you know, 3 years from now when the court's finally settled.
And I see where you're coming from with
And
that.
I don't think we want that to happen to you kids, so I think we need to help protect you, and I agree with Jim too. Because we don't know the outcome of the suit, we have no choice but to ask you to show independence.
Okay. If that is your final decision, we accept that and.
And I don't think that means, I'm not gonna go up, because I get independent and nobody's gonna help me out. I don't believe that at all.
Well, I think we should leave it at, we're both really on the same side because we're both doing it for the kids.
We're all for the kids, that's what we
The
want. I
kids
don't wanna see
wanted
the
us to
kids
come in
get
and
hurt,
fight
to
for
get
them
the court
and-
cases
Mr.
settled.
Chairman, would it be
Okay.
appropriate for the board to take an action to
Yes,
support,
it is time to take an action.
to support the decision and direction of the fair manager in this
Is that a
instance?
motion?
I have one more question.
One more question.
Is that a motion?
You get one
Yes.
One more. So, do you or do you not have a certificate from the state for Standish Grange?
No, the National's holding everything in limbo.
Yeah,
We
and
got a
that-
motion.
And that's unfortunate is the.
I know, but then
Yeah.
the kids wanted us to try, and like I said, all we care about is the kids.
We have a motion on
We
the
do
floor, we have a second.
We do too.
I mean, we don't want to start a war.
No
We
worries.
want no more.
We have to work together.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Do we have a second?
I'm sorry to say I will be back.
She backs out the door.
What
a card.
Supervisor Chapman.
Aye.
Supervisor Alba.
Aye.
Supervisor Wasik. And Supervisor Bio.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for your input and discussion. It's quite complicated.
It is.
It's not really our issue. I mean, it's, okay, I think we got one item left, and I don't see, where
Bluegrass.
Modification of agreement with NorCal EMS, I don't understand.
Yeah, it's not me.
So that's gonna be discontinued.
Okay, next week.
Or do you
I
want-
just
you
got
wanna-
enough
you wanna
energy to
go
say
over
that
without
we-
it here? I mean, you guys wanna discuss it? If you want.
Well, what did they want us to do?
Basically, all they're asking is it's a contract renewed every year, and it's just asking to renew it. That's all it is.
Well, I just have one question to you, Mr. Chairman. You reported under your board report that they've got a balanced budget or something.
Right, and the NorCal EMS has had financial trouble, you know, for various reasons. They've lost a couple of counties due to political.
Several.
And, we had 100,000 deficit basically. And we have been, by, you know, they found another office to rent, they sold their building they originally owned, and they've been operating the deficit spending off of the sale of that building. They have now reduced staff by one. Dan is gonna go part-time, so his salary will be cut in half, but he will be available full-time. If he feels he can do that appropriately. So with them changes, they are now no longer operating at a loss.
What about the threatened state
The
demand?
California State Department of Public Health has still got a suit against them for reimbursement of money that they got back during the 9/11 crisis. There was money given out. Nothing has happened on that. The state is doing nothing.
What's the?
So it's just kind of sitting there in limbo.
Yeah, what's the potential liability to Lassen County as one of the member counties if we maintain the agreement? You know, the concern I have is that obviously a bunch of counties left the JPA, so it's shrunk now in size, so you've had to do that, but if all of a sudden the current JPA gets hit with this, a demand from the state for that $300,000 that was, you might say, utilized back when the group was bigger, okay, are we gonna be put in a position where we're stuck having to pay back a grant that really didn't come to us, but came to this other organization? I think that was the issue.
And can NorCal EMS financially pay that back? No, it would break. They can't do it, but I don't think, you're gonna have to ask council that question. I can't.
Well, the problem with JPA liability is any kind of tort claims, then you're joint and severally liable. But a breach of contract would be something different. I'd have to look into that more.
Well, I'd like to have that, because I think that issue, along with some of the other JPAs that we've got a lot, and that, we've asked for a workshop to look at all the JPAs and look at.
We're not a
what's-
JPA.
This is a contract. I thought this was a JPA.
NorCal is not a JPA, no.
NorCal's not, but I know what you're talking about.
We have had a discussion, should NorCal change and go to a JPA? That was a discussion off and on, but no, NorCal is not a JPA.
Well, I think it's important that whether it's a JPA or not, whether it's a contract or not, or whatever the legal structure that's put together to allow for a program to function, I think we need to examine all of them, including this one, what our hold harmless clauses are. So if there's administratively or otherwise fiscally mismanagement by, you might say, indirect employees that we don't necessarily have direct control of, but for them to function in a way that could put us at fiscal risk is the concern.
Well, council, that can't happen, can't be. I mean, NorCal is a nonprofit. They contract with the county.
And a contractual agreement is very different from a JPA as
Okay.
far as liability.
Well, I'd like to have all that spelled out, and I'd like to see it in black and white so that the comfort level can return, because my concern is that a lot of these organizations, when they come together over, and some of them been around for decades, and some of them are more recent, but oftentimes, well, like the one we just had this morning with the Nortec, I mean, right now it's a new group that's running things, but for 25 years, it was one individual, and this guy became like the guru that everybody just kind of like, and so, you know, it becomes egocentric. In other words, it's built around the personality of this one person. And then what happens is, if something goes wrong, and that person may or may not have everybody's best interest at heart, everybody else winds up paying the price. So you might say the fiduciary responsibility where the critical questions should be asked aren't because of the fact that, well, this guy is like, you know, he's the go-to guy for this program or that program. And so, as it relates to this EMS stuff, I mean, obviously, Dan has been the go-to guy for a long time, and so the checks and balances to make sure that they're operating in an appropriate fashion breaks down over time. And I'm not saying that happened necessarily here, but somewhere along the lines, and then everybody bails and a few counties are left. I just don't want to be in a position by agreeing to this that we are setting ourselves up to take a fall for people that we didn't really have direct control or supervision of. And that's what I see the potential.
Yeah, and we have to let legal counsel answer that, but
Well,
I don't think that's
Yeah,
possible.
I'm willing to support the maintenance of our relationship, because you have to have somebody like this to oversee.
Yeah, let me explain something else to you. The only other act in town is Sierra Sacramento. And they are basically a municipal-oriented kind of, you know, EMS. Before I would ever consider changing, which we'd have to give up NorCal and go to Sierra Sacramento, it's the providers that work with these people. And I would never make a change without all the providers here to give their input. Do they want to stay with NorCal or do they want to go to Sierra
And
Sacramento?
the input we've received from most of the providers over the last couple of years is they don't really want to go that way. They would like to stay here, but we,
And there is some differences in how the providers do business. In other words, can you be a paramedic? What are the duties of an EMS 1, 2, and so on? And it's different in rural California than Sacramento, because a lot of these accidents, it takes time to get there, and you may not have a paramedic.
in Siskiyou and Shasta County went with that other outfit, and a lot of the providers in those counties have even given feedback that they wish they hadn't done that.
Because the rules are different in a local area.
And I'm willing to support that we maintain, at least for the time being, this ongoing, but I would like to have, if we could, Mr. Chairman, if council and staff could give us some really clear-cut, you know, where are the liabilities, so we know what our potential outliers may be.
I think, when I was with Regina this morning, she, I think, is working on getting a list of all the
Right. Well,
JPAs.
Yeah, Marty's been working on that for
Okay,
the last
and then they were
several
gonna
weeks. Yeah.
come to me next, so.
I mean, when we had the presentation, when the fair people came in, we had a JPA dealing with insurance, and no one seemed to know anything about it. And it's a good thing that Jim brought in the presentation, and things like that. We need to find out where all those
So we're
are.
going to put this agenda item off to.
No, we can go ahead. I'm willing to give support, because I'm comfortable, because I know you're our lead rep, and if you're not uptight about it, then obviously.
If this was like a 3 or 5 year contract, I would be uptight about it. Like a 1 year contract, what I can see, I don't see an issue. That doesn't mean it can't happen, anything can happen. I mean, but for a year contract, I don't see.
And what the alternatives are less ideal, so.
And my only concern would be if a couple other counties chose not to, then it wouldn't work.
I know at some of the other JPA meetings we've been to recently, the Trinity County folks, the gal from Trinity County that's on this one is there, and I had a fairly lengthy conversation with her about it, and.
Trinity's a little too.
Yeah, but I think we need to at least provide the coverage for our people here locally until we can sort it out, so.
Correct. So, Eric?
Yeah, my question was, and you kind of answered it, is if we didn't do this, who would we go to? I mean,
Sarah Sacramento.
but how come Sacramento? I mean, is that the rest of the state under that?
No, I mean, to set up in regions, I mean, you know, each EMS has certain counties.
But does it have to be in California? Can you go to Nevada?
You have to be in California. I'm pretty sure of that, don't hold me to it, but I think, California's different than Nevada.
This is all regulated under the California Department of Health.
And part of the money comes from California, from the state government. They do get money, income, a certain amount from the state of California, depending on the size and area and all that.
These guys oversee all the regulations of the training and
It's all state
certification of all the.
Right, not familiar.
It couldn't be Nevada, no area.
We'd be better off if we were, but anyway.
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
Who made the motion?
You did.
I did.
How about if we do that now?
You said you were comfortable with it.
I was, well, I didn't, that wasn't translated into a motion. I'll comment.
So, did you make the motion?
Yeah.
Okay.
My motion is to go ahead and to proceed with reservations.
Do we have a second to the motion? Aaron makes
Thank
a
you.
second. Any more discussion? Any questions from the public? Everybody happy? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, say no. Ayes have it. I do not see anything else on the agenda, am I correct? Are we done?
Information is one from the CAO, and the CAO told Julie there's nothing to report.
He's feeling better.
Okay,